We're in Luke chapter 15, and I'm just going to paraphrase the prodigal son. I'm not going to read it verbatim. We're just going to kind of work through it. And we all know that it was rich gentleman, very influential, had lots of wealth, lots of servants, lots of cattle. He had a man of two certain sons, or a certain man of two sons. And older brother, he was working and doing his thing. The younger brother, the younger son, is the one who came up to his dad and said, "Listen, Dad, I want all my inheritance. I want what's due unto me. My portion of what's due unto me as a family name, I want it now." And the father, being, that might have been my response, would have been no. But the father gave him his portion. And I found it interesting. As I was reading through it, it says, after a few days. So the father gave the son his portion, and he stayed there in the family line. But after a few days, he all of a sudden decided, after a few days following, he gathered all of his things. He gathered everything that was given to him, and he went to a far-off country. Took off. While he was there, he squandered, is a word that it's definitely not a King James word, but he wasted away his money through, I think the word that they used was riotous living in Luke chapter 15. And when I think of riotous living, that is excessive to the extreme. Now, what was kind of interesting this week is Pastor Sarah had a conversation this weekend with somebody, and they got on the subject of the parable of the prodigal son. Y'all try and say that really quick. The prodigal son and what that looked like. And this person kind of looked and said, yeah, well, he kind of lived his life kind of rough and there. And Sarah's like, you need to be a little bit more understanding what that looked like. You have to really understand how bad this son's life became. He just didn't go out there and squander money. He did everything his father was against. The lifestyle, the interjections, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and all the things that happened, that's what this son did. He got to the absolute worst of his life. Wasted every bit of the money doing everything he wanted to that would have been extremely excessive to everyone's standard. Got down to where you didn't have any more money, famine hit the land. You kind of know how that gets. You're doing really well until something shifts you sideways and you realize, well, crud. Life seriously just took a 90-degree turn and left me standing there with nothing. And in reading the story and reading in Luke chapter 15, the son found a man and kind of attached himself to one of the citizens of this town. And this man sent him out to feed the pigs, probably just to make a few, whatever the coins would have been, shekels or cents or whatever it was, just to make enough for food. And when I read the storyline, and he went out there, and as he's sitting there feeding the swine and giving them the husks and everything else, there's a term that they used in King James which kind of blew me away. He lusted after the corn husks that they were feeding the swine. Now, I'm going to take a pause for a moment. We're going to go over here. Anyone ever been around a pig farm? Yet it's not too bad. But when you get to a large, let's just call it a large pig farm, and they're smelly, they're pigs, now we all love bacon. Bacon is that was like the third thing God created. You know, light, separate light and moon, and then or light, the water, and then bacon. You know, I think that's the whole why he did animals. You know, it's like he can't eat this because it's bacon. He knew everybody would get addicted to bacon. Sound like a dog commercial, bacon, kind of thing.